What's up, YouTube? Welcome to another episode of the Undergrad Forum. And today is a special episode. As you can see, I got a guest here. And today we're going to have a conversation with Gary Tran. Gary, tell us about yourself.
I'm an incoming medical student, and I'm going to Chicago Med at Rosalind Franklin University.
All right, so Gary's a rising MS1. So he's going into his first year of medical school. I'm going into my second year of medical school. And we thought this would be kind of a good video where Gary can ask questions that probably a lot of people have that are going to be going into medical school in the next month or so. And I can try to give whatever answers I have. We can kind of talk about them and come up with an answer if neither of us really have one, whatever works. And hopefully it's a conversation that you guys can relate to and appreciate. All right, so I guess we should just give you a little blurb about ourselves so you can kind of understand like where our answers are coming from. Most of my viewers know me. I am fun and adorable, I know. Anyways, going into second year medical school, Gary and I work in the same research lab. That's how we know each other this summer. We're doing like transplant surgery research. So it's kind of, I guess maybe we have that kind of bias where we think that's kind of an interesting field of research. We are both kind of research prone. I also did research in my year off prior to starting medical school. Gary's doing it right now. So undergrad, I did bio, did religious studies, did theology. What'd you do, Gary?
In college, I studied philosophy. That's my major. Minored in chemistry. I did a lot of research as well, but in chemistry. So research is definitely something that I kind of want to continue, and most likely will continue in medical school as well.
Yeah, good. Yeah. So there's our kind of bias. I mean, I'm sure we both did like the same extracurriculars as to like volunteering, shadowing. I mean, most people kind of do the same thing. So those are just kind of the things I want to put out there. We are coming from more of, I guess, a liberal arts edge coming into like medical school, but we are doing research, so it's the same kind of basic science. All right, so let's get started. So what I kind of want to get started with is a viewer question. I thought it was pretty good. Look it up. So this person, I'm going to bring it up real quick. So here we go. So this was from username Rayfun or Rayfun. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that properly. But so here the question here is let's see. So the question here is all right. So the question is just a quick question. But did you find that you had more time in your first year of medical school than in undergrad? Some students say that because they drop their extracurriculars, they find that they have more time in the first year. Would you agree? And do you think that, it's kind of compressed written, it's kind of fragmented, but do you think that you would have enough time to begin research in first year? All right, so the main question really is, okay, so in undergrad we had a lot of extracurriculars, we were in clubs, we were in hospitals, we were doing a bunch of other stuff, and now you don't really do them so much in medical school. Do you have plenty of time? And second, if you have time, can you do research during first year? All right, so did you do a lot of extracurriculars in undergrad?
Yeah, I mean, I was in clubs, I did research, I did volunteering.
Yeah.
Like that.
So your free time was pretty much taken up.
Yeah, I didn't have much free time.
Yeah. So I had that same similar problem. Not problem, just same situation. So it's kind of, the answer is not simple yes or no. Yes, on the hand that you don't have extracurriculars, so you do have more theoretical free time throughout your day. But the reality is that the answer is kind of no, because in undergrad you only have so much material coming at you, and in medical school the material, it's pretty high intensity. It's coming at you much more. So I think that's just a necessary balance that people in medical school figured out that, hey, these kids aren't going to be doing so much volunteering and extracurriculars. We can throw a ton more material at them. That sounds like a great idea. So yes, I don't have so many extracurriculars, even though a lot of medical students, including myself, do extracurriculars. We make time for them, in addition to your studies. So like, I made a video about how to make the first year like completely manageable, and I kind of give you like a study strategy to follow, where you can pretty much just have like a relaxed day, but you're studying most of the day. So you don't have so much free time, because any free time you have, you're either going to be studying more, taking care of yourself, or picking very specific extracurriculars that you really want to do because you're making time for them. So I don't think you can just think about it in a kind of basic math sense of less extracurriculars, more free time. Unfortunately, it doesn't work out. And the other question, can you do research throughout your first year? That's like the $1 million question, I think.
Yeah.
You know what? What do you think, Gary? So you're going to be going again. You know what research is really like.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people, they have an idea of what they kind of want to do, and it might be a competitive specialty, so they want to have a head start.
Sure.
And I think that's good, but at the same time, learning the material is ultimately the most important thing. And if you sacrifice time that you could use to study for research, it can be very tricky.
Right.
And which one is the most benefit for your time? And I think ultimately studying for classes, ultimately for your step one, is going to be the best thing for your time.
Can't disagree with that one. I mean, it's a reality. I mean, I think as Gary said, you got to get the most bang for your buck. There's only so much time in a day, and I like put up a video about like how to manage your time. So I try to get the most bang for my time. But I mean, you kind of have to think of it. The problem I have is like I did research before medical school. I'm doing research now during the summer. If you really want to get into your research, like it takes a lot of, aside from just like the physical time of being in lab, it takes a lot of mental time. Like when you come home, it's really beneficial when you can just kind of daydream about things and just kind of think about them. Like you're having lunch, you just kind of sit there and play around with ideas. That's kind of how I've noticed when my research is going really well, when I can really devote a lot of mental energy towards it. So biased opinion, my biased, never humble opinion here. But I didn't do research during first year. I wouldn't recommend doing research during first year. I mean, it took like half the year for me to figure out my study techniques, getting comfortable with medical school, finding my place. Just like towards like the second half of medical school, I had everything. Like I was pretty comfortable. I had my study techniques. I was getting plenty of sleep. I was getting my exercise. Things were going well. But it took like half the year to kind of figure myself out. So if I was trying to do that and do like pretty serious research, I don't know, that sounds horrible to me. First year, you really want to like take that time to learn and take that time to get yourself comfortable. I wouldn't recommend it. Some of my classmates did it, more power to them. But you really have to ask yourself, do I have enough mental energy to spend on that? Because the curriculum does take up your time. All right, so there's that question. We had one more question before. So this is with respect to that time management video I talked about, where like you get up at 6, you prepare for class, you kind of just pre-read, you go to class, come back, take a 1-hour lunch, study for an hour, 15-minute break, study for an hour, 15-minute break, that one. And one viewer called Princess 15991, I don't know if I got that number. Anyways, they said, so like this time management schedule, is it necessary for someone who's going into pediatrics? So I think they asked that question because the time management video is a little bit intense, I think. Like it's pretty You watched it, right?
Right, yeah, I watched it.
And I think you get the feel that it's like all you do is study all day.
Right. It's more like a full-time job kind of thing.
Well, medical school is a full-time job, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
it should be that way.
I mean, I think you want to make. I think the question's phrased in a way that kind of shows a little bit of confusion. If you shouldn't think that because you want to go into pediatrics that you need to know less material or you can relax. Someone who's going into pediatrics, someone who's going into family medicine, cardiology, surgery, neurology, whatever, everyone's held to the same standard. You all have to know the same material really well. MD degree is universal. So if you want to go into pediatrics, that doesn't mean you can relax or you have to know less stuff. It just means that it happens to be a little bit less competitive because people just want to do other things. A lot of people are rushing towards other specialties. So, no, I think if you want to go into peds, maybe you'll change your mind, who knows. But you should really go all out when it comes to studying. Don't think, hey, I'm going into something I can relax, because you're going to get to a point where you realize, I don't know as much as I want to know, and you don't want to ever find yourself in that spot. What do you think, Gary?
Right. Well, I mean, I think keeping in mind that certain academic programs are more competitive, even in peds.
Right.
So, to have the best app that you can.
Oh, sure.
When it comes time to it, and pigeonhole yourself by saying, well, it's not that competitive, and I can ease off a little bit, and you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot later on. Maybe. If you want, say if you an academic hospital that you really love, and now your step 1 score is holding you back, and I don't think you want that.
It's never a good spot. I mean, I think the first 2 years are all about go as hard as you can, do as best as you can in step 1. Life will probably be better. If you have other things to do, like your life is busy, your life is that's life. But regardless of what you're interested in, just work really hard. Try to be the top of your class. There's never going to be like a downside to that in life, right?
Right. I mean, life goes on too. You know, things happen in your life that you can't control, but you manage as much as possible so that you have adequate time to study.
Right.
But, you know, things happen, and you just have to deal with them as they come up.
So what you're saying is you got to roll with the punches.
Yeah.
I heard that thing the other day on TV Saturday. Okay. So there you go. All right. So those are some questions the viewers put out. Gare, what do you have for questions? What do you think people like? So you're reading the minds of like everyone out there in YouTube land, right?
Yeah. Well, personally, I've been a year out, so I graduated last year. And so, what kind of advice would you have for someone a year out from taking classes, or maybe a few years?
That's a good question.
Out of classes. How do you transition back into?
Yeah, that's a good one. So I took a year off too, and in my year off, I did research full time. But when I got home, I tried to relax. Like I was I wasn't so much. I was a little bit burned out from undergrad. I was tired. So like taking the year off was pretty nice, and it never hurts to do more research. So if you're a year out, I was a year out. When I started med school, I was a bit tired. Like I was still a little rusty. I wasn't amped up in the academic mood. A lot of you'll notice for when you decide what school you want to go to, every school is going to have like a Facebook group where you can join, and everyone's going to be like talking before school starts. And I noticed that like before school started, a lot of people were like, hey, should I be studying something to kind of get myself back into the academic mood? Should I be reviewing anatomy, biochem, whatever? And I thought that same question. I even bought some kind of book. I thought I'm going to read this, right? No. Okay, so that's the one thing I would say. Don't try to tell yourself you're going to study and get ahead in medical school. Because the reality is, one, you never study with the same intensity as you do when you're in medical school. So even before or maybe even during summer break, the environment makes you go really hard. But when you're outside, you kind of there's a reason you have vacation. There's a reason they give us Christmas break and summer break. Maybe they know that we need to relax a little bit. So kind of trust the administration, I guess. But what I would say, number one, is don't try to study before medical school, because the content you're going to study, most likely you're going to be hitting low-yield topics. You're not going to study that much material. And you might even not be studying things that are relevant at sometimes. So I made that mistake. I kind of wasted some time. I don't really remember anything I studied before school started. That's pretty embarrassing to say, but it's true. I tried studying anatomy before school started. That was a total waste of time, because when anatomy started, I was studying all the wrong things. I was studying things that I covered in 10 minutes. So don't try to study beforehand. If you want to get back into the academic mood, just ask yourself the question of why are you in medical school, and find something that's going to give you a drive. Something that even at 10 o'clock at night when you're tired and you got a test coming up on Monday, something that's going to keep you going. So I would spend time relaxing, getting your affairs in order. So that's the big thing for me, getting your personal life in order and everything set to go. So when school starts, you don't have anything else to do. You can just start studying. Your rent's taken care of, your apartment, the moving, your family, everything's fine. So when school starts, you're ready to run. And that's my big thing. Don't study and get yourself ready. Just personally.
Okay. I mean, personally, I'm pretty amped up to start school. But then I know some people are more apprehensive about starting after, say, 5 years after college.
Yeah.
Things like that. I don't have experience with that, but I'm definitely excited to start school, start learning things.
Yeah.
Learning new things.
I think, there is a lot of excitement because, you've been trying to get, the application process itself makes it feel like a great hurdle.
Right.
Yep.
And, general idea of med school is that you're studying for day and night. And do you think that if you find out your schedule correctly,
My videos.
Would you have time for things like sports or free time with yourself?
Abso-positively, man. What the hell's
Yeah.
wrong with you? Yeah, you can have a life in medical school. I hate people tell you you can't have a life. Yeah, so like in my school, I have a test practically every Monday. So it makes having a life a little bit more tough because on the weekend you're like, man, I better put some time in for this test. So you want to do well. But there on the weekends in which I don't have an upcoming Monday test, you can have a total normal life because like you do study all the time, but if you manage your time like in a smart, common sense manner, and you just try to like get whatever you can done that day, your weekends are pretty much like a little bit of catch up and some review. So like if you just take yourself really seriously like Monday through Friday and like don't mess around, your weekends they're not free, but like it's not like you're racing to catch up. It's like you're just reviewing for your own goodness. So like I was saying, like in the first half of first year, I was literally scrambling around. I was trying to get my bearings. But second half, it was great. Like I was sleeping like 7 hours a night regularly, like not like 3 hours and 8 hours one night.
Yeah.
So I was sleeping like 7 hours a night. I was working out like I think 2 to 3 times a week for like an hour. That felt real good. Had plenty of time to like I have like a really nice park here by my house. It's like freaking gorgeous. With like a lake and a duck and all that kind of stuff. And so like I would go for walks and go bike riding. And it's like you can spend time with your friends. It's like a good amount of, I wouldn't say free time like an undergrad where you can just like waste 6 hours, and like wake up and where am I? That's not gonna work. But like you can have nice like 1 or 2 hour breaks. Like a lot of people did those intramural sports. Like I worked out, but some people did like swimming or basketball or like soccer. So they're really just time. You just have to be like military about self-discipline with time management.
Yeah.
And I think it's fair to say you have more time to do things than you did undergrad because at some point you become so disciplined with your learning that you just stop wasting time.
Right, yeah.
Like you become really efficient at some point. It's really nice.
Yeah. Get off Facebook.
Yeah, get off Facebook. If you, I mean, like you do need a Facebook. Oddly enough, in medical school, like you do need to communicate, and that's like a really easy way to do it, especially if you don't have someone's email or phone number. But yeah, you can't be wasting time. See, that's the thing. Don't waste time on Facebook. Don't waste time like on YouTube watching videos. Mine are great though, but it's like don't waste time. You're gonna find so much other time, and that's true for anyone, not even in medical school. Don't waste time. You're gonna have more free time. That's a common sense thing, I guess. Don't take my word for it. What was that one show, like Reading Rainbow? The guy's like, don't take my word for it, read it yourself or something. Watch that show? Oh.
I don't remember.
Yeah, that was a while ago. I wish we could do this like live, where like they could like people could like leave questions. Okay, what else you got? No, I'm not going to cut this out, actually, so, yeah, I'm not cutting this out. We'll leave these parts. It's getting a bit long, but yeah. Here, we've had so many conversations at work about, like, how do you not remember them now? Alright, ask one more good question. This video's like almost 19 minutes.
What about social environment? I know every class is a little bit different.
You had to go there. Why'd you have to ask that one?
That's not academic related.
That's a real good question.
I think it does affect, your learning and environment.
That's really that's a good question.
Should you stay away from the competitive people? Should you be uber social, be friends with everyone? Should you your business?
All right, I got you.
Like that.
Okay. So
I mean, obviously, it's personal opinion.
Yeah. So in my never humble opinion, and bias, I gotta say, Gary, you gotta be yourself. Okay, no, really though, I mean like. Okay, but seriously though, some people say that like graduate school, whether you're in PhD program, law school, medical school, it goes back to being like high school. Have you heard that?
Yes.
It's true. Yeah, so I mean, like it's like a small class environment, and things just kind of happen like that. And there's just those kind of group divides. Some people that are more social, some people more quiet, some people are more academic, some people are more sporty. I don't know. I mean, everyone's different. With respect to like that kind of social question, do whatever the hell you want to do. I don't care. Like, if you're social, be social. If you're more quiet, be more quiet. I don't care. I'm kind of more quiet. That's just, I enjoy time by myself, so I spend time by myself. There are some people who always like to be around others. That's what they do. So you got to do that. And the reason I say that is because, like, when I was trying to pick what school to go to, I was talking to, like, my own primary care doc, like my real doctor. And I asked them, like, hey, here's, like, the two schools I'm trying to pick between. Like, can you help me pick? Like, I don't know what to do. Yeah. And what he told me is, okay, whatever. Don't worry about the names and the pedigree and all that kind of stuff. Just, like, look at the school and try to imagine where you would be the most happy. Like, the most relaxed, the most just, like, comfortable to study. Because when you're, like, genuinely happy, you can absorb material real well. But if you're, like, miserable or, like, unhappy, man, you're not learning much. So that's what I would say. Do whatever, like, socially you want to do that's going to make you relaxed and happy. I kind of like to be myself, and that works out for me. I'm not totally antisocial. Courtesy of YouTube. But I mean, like, I just kind of like to spend a little more time by myself, and some people like to be a little more social. But with respect to, like, are you going to hang around with, like, super competitive gunner kids who are, like, oh, I missed a question again, and they're, like, cussing at them, and someone missed, like, 20, you got to be, like, smart about it. I mean, you're going to have I think every class is kind of the same, actually. Like, every class has got the super people that are loud and telling you all their test scores. You don't need to know that. I mean, if it doesn't bother you, whatever. But I do know some people that kind of, they become, like, uneasy about it. Like, if they don't do well on a test and someone did, like, and other people, like, it kind of gets into their head. Right. So if you know that bothers you, like, you need to be really smart about it because you can't afford to waste time. Like we said, you can't waste time. So if you know some people piss you off, don't spend time around them. Or if you know, like, test scores come out and, like, 10 people start telling their scores and talking and, hey, what did you get for number 7? Learn to stay away from that stuff because the whole goal is kind of like what my doctor told me. Do whatever you got to do in medical school to keep yourself happy, relaxed, and focused on learning. And everything else is going to be fine. And I know that sounds like super stupid and common sense, but it's so ridiculously true. Stay with, because, like, you have 2 years to learn you have to learn a ton of material in 2 years. And then you go on to years 3 and 4, and you got to implement and learn even more. Right. So be realistic. You have a job for 2 years. You're not here to play around. Like, in high school and in college, you kind of could play around. It's kind of social environment, right? Right, yeah. Now it's a job. It feels social because you're around your classmates, but it's a job. You got to learn a lot of material. Do whatever it takes to be optimal. Right. If that means be by yourself or that means be friends with everyone, do what you got to do. Sounds like common sense, but I think it's true.
You should kind of change who you are and try to act like else. Just do what you've been doing.
Yeah. Indeed. All right, one last question for our beautiful viewers. And let me ask you a question here. Well, I didn't tell them this. It's like, what the hell? An exact question? All right. So you're going into med school now. You just finished the application cycle. You finished secondaries. You finished interviews. You're getting ready for school. What would you, if you want to give, like, some nice, like, general advice, however long or short, to someone who's, like, a 4th year in undergrad or whatever, and they're, like, about to start preparing their AMCATs? Like, we're getting close to, I think this cycle's ending, right? It's like we're getting close. All right, maybe then you might have started. Whatever.
When it started, yeah.
Whatever. So those people who are just about to apply or are in the cycle or are thinking about applying next year, what are some, like, things that you remember from undergrad you made, like, mistakes or whatever, and you're like, man, I wish I didn't do that? Or just, like, some tips you got for people who are thinking of applying. And it could be as long or short of an answer as you want.
Okay. I think general.
And make sure to look at the camera. Look at the viewers, Gare.
Yeah.
The people.
I think I could have managed my time better. That's the one thing that I kind of regret, that I didn't manage my time as.
Sure.
Wasted a lot of time.
What are you doing? Is this made for YouTube? This is a family channel.
I think it's just wasted time. Either just not utilizing my time to the best possible thing.
You weren't super efficient.
Right. Yeah. Watching a lot of TV, hanging with friends too much. And I think if you have a schedule down, then it's going to help you. And if you can implement it early on in college, then it's going to help you in medical school. I think now, that I've realized that how much time in college, medical school, I'm definitely going to have a very structured
Yeah.
Definitely planning. And any other advice?
What are like applications?
Applications? Attitude coming into the application. It's a very humbling experience.
Yeah. That's a good one.
And the schools that you think you might have a chance at or anything that you might not get that chance. And, coming into the application cycle, I think that you should be very humble about it. That you're at a very good stage in your life that you'd be able to apply.
Oh, yeah.
And that's how I thought of it at the end. And, very humbling experience. And,
My cat's walking around messing with the camera. Alright, go on, Gary.
Definitely put a lot of thought into your activities and how you explain them. Don't just say you did this, a list. Show what you learned from it, what you got from it. I think that's very important. People don't want to know just what you did, but how did it affect you? What you learned from it. And, it's a story about yourself. And they really want to know who you are, ultimately.
That's actually a really good point. I think one of our lab mates is like preparing her application right now. We're trying to help her out. And I think she really missed that big point because she was just saying like her activity and just kind of giving a description of what she did. I think she kind of missed that big point of we don't really care. I mean, we need to know what you did, but tell us what you got out of it. Tell us the significance it had in your life. Tell us why you did it.
Yeah.
You kind of need to, not I would say elevate your writing, but you kind of need to think that it's not a simple application anymore.
Right.
You kind of want to know why are you getting ready for like your professional life.
Right.
And your activity should be showing that you're getting ready for it.
Yeah.
So if you like volunteer, don't tell me you like restock shelves all day on like Tuesdays and Thursdays and you every now and then help like put in like a catheter. You're like, tell me much more about like what you got out of it, patient experience, humbleness, seeing suffering. And like you really want to tailor to like these MD people because that's where you're going into.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just not. It's not enough because tons of people.
Everyone does the same thing, like pretty much.
You want to stand out, but it's not about the activity. It's about what you learn, what you got from it.
That's true.
The most important.
And you can apply the simple principle of I need to elevate. Like I don't want to say elevate. Like I need to really. Like, what am I trying to say?
To me, I think it's a story. Telling about who you are and your story.
Yeah. But, people always say that stuff to me. I hated it.
Story?
I never understand what that means, man. It's a story. I know the personal statement's a story.
Yeah.
But I think now, I get it now because I've already gone through it. It's not fair, but I think what he's trying to say, because people always told me it's a story. It's like you want to show a continuous thread or a line or a thinking thread. I never know that, man. It gets me off. But I think what Gary's trying to say, tell me if I'm wrong here, is whatever activity you write, personal statement, or like the description of like what you did in each activity, it's all about just kind of giving them more insight into you.
Yeah.
And so it's not like write a story for each one. It means when you're describing your activities and what you got out of it, everything should be giving a little bit more of you. So think of I got a stupid analogy. Think of each paragraph as like a pixel on a picture. Each paragraph,
What?
like a picture and like a puzzle boxes and shit. It's like if you're like each paragraph's like filling in a box of like what you look like, right? So like by reading stupid analogy, I know, but like by reading all the paragraphs and personal statements, someone kind of has a feel for like who you are, like what you're into, why you want to go into medicine. So that's what I think we're trying to say about tell a story is give us more insight into who you are and why and like what you're into by the things you've done. Don't just list stuff. Everyone's gonna list stuff, and man, you'll learn. Some people got some impressive stuff, so you got to really show us what you got out of it.
Yeah.
Because some people did some amazing things, but they just, I guess, didn't get much out of it or whatever. The one thing I can think from undergrad is like I got lucky in undergrad that I found like a mentor kind of early on. Like my Gen Chem professor from like second semester first. Like I didn't do so well first semester of freshman year, but like second semester, like my Gen Chem teacher kind of like really got on me about not doing well for some reason. Like, she was kind of pissed at me for, like, not doing well. Because I think, like, she knew I was kind of into the chemistry, or, like, what. I think I told her I was kind of like, I'm interested in medical school. And she's like, you're an idiot because you're not doing well in general chemistry. I was like, oh my God. And so I got lucky. I found a mentor kind of early on. I think that's really key. Even in medical school, like, I went out this time in medical school to, like, find a mentor. Just because I saw how nice it was during college. Like, having someone you can always go to for questions, who can, like, lead you to other people if they can't answer your stuff. Having, like, guidance from someone that's older than you, that's, like, already in the field you want to go into, I think that's, like, vital almost. So that's what I would say. That's, like, one thing to do, whether you're in college or medical school. Find someone that you can, like, a professor or a faculty member or a PhD, MD, whatever, that can, like, guide, like, that's willing to take you under their wing, guide you, because it's having those people that really change your life. I got, like, 4 or 5 people that literally have changed where I was going in life in a good way. Yep. All right, so we got 30-minute video now. Yeah. I don't know who's going to watch all this, but if you did watch it until now, click the like button. Click like and subscribe. No. Okay, not to get too YouTube on you. Yeah, but any last word for our viewers here? You guys say something. You can't say. Okay, so if you're at the interviews and someone says, so do you have any questions for me? Do not say no. You always get out. Okay. This is the same kind of formality, I guess.
That's a good question, though.
You know what I mean. You know what I mean. Any the last things you want to say to someone, like, generally? Because these people are, like, really applying to, like, medical school and stuff. Like, are they generally interested, or they're in it now?
I'd say, even though the application cycle is very stressful, and you don't know where you're going to end up after it.
Yeah, you don't.
You gotta enjoy it. You get to visit different places, meet different people. You do get to enjoy.
I can't. Sorry.
You really get to enjoy that part of that cycle, but because you'll probably never experience traveling through different places.
It was fun. I enjoyed it.
Meeting different people.
Yeah.
It's a very new experience.
And you make a lot of good memories too out of it.
Yeah,
like, it's a fun time. Don't think of it as like a burden.
Right.
And my final words are going to be my final words as always on my YouTube channel. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. We're signing out from Mo and Gare. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, a little conversation we had. It ran long, but I think that's always a good thing. And as always, guys, enjoy your studies.